and such.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Easy. See you around.
All right.
Okay.
Tomorrow I will be able to be around a little bit longer.
Okay. I want to sort of start like reframe, because I think the historic stuff is good, and I think as we continue to build that up, like individually and collectively, just kind of like soaking in what happened previously and what we're seeing immediately is kind of a key.
Yep.
And for me, the biggest thing right now in my mind is, what does this book mean? Why are we seeing it now? Why was it left? It scratches, and
so
without
it seems
that,
to be Victor Blackwell in general seems to be the person we need to dig into.
I agree. Yeah. The virologist, right? Is that?
Yep.
Okay.
That's Kreeger.
That's Kreeger is the virologist. Blackwell is whom? Do we know anything about him?
Blackwell's the financer.
The financer. Ah. So let me pose a hypothetical and tell me if this is possibly fits. Victor was the financier for the FACELESS. And he had a direct part in funding some of the operations and the initial setup to get the FACELESS sort of, you know, up and going. And then Kreeger, as a part of that, let's just call it like the initial footprint, was a part of making this chemical.
Yes.
We have seen in the crystal ball the photos of Project whatever, SG, whatever the fuck it is, right? Likely that neurotoxin. I initially believed it was some kind of conventional bomb, but given that photo, you see in there Charlie alongside a scientist. I am suspecting that one of the many people of interest is that female scientist in that photo. If
yes.
it ain't Kreeger,
one thing
then
I don't
who?
know. It's not Kreeger because Kreeger's a male.
I think it might be Maggie.
Did you watch the Kreeger video?
You're gonna have to remind me. I was watching some videos.
There is a video from a few months ago that was Kreeger
sitting in a chair.
Us. Yes, he was sitting in a chair. He talked about this virus. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up my transcript of it because I listened to it and I wrote it all out, which is a lot easier than sitting there and rewatching a video.
Okay.
It was no, that wasn't it. R32582. I'm just gonna read the whole thing to you because I think no, maybe this wasn't it. Oh, yes, it is. Okay. I'm just going to read you pretty much the transcript. If you're watching this, Marshall, this was the 20th of last month. So about a month ago, this video was documented.
Okay.
If you're watching this, Marshall, I need you to understand one thing. I'm doing this to save myself. I'm not doing this to save myself. My hands are already stained. In my life, let's just say I'm living on borrowed time. This is about saving the city from something they have no idea is coming. I worked for the FACELESS, not by choice at first. But once you're in there, there's no easy way out. They are not just a gang or a secret organization, Marshall. They are a power that moves in the shadows that controls the criminal underworld. You might think you heard whispers or glimmers of their reach, but I promise you, Marshall, it's much more deeper than that. I was recruited for my background in biochemical engineering, specifically my expertise in neurotoxin. The Faceless, they had a vision. Total control without firing a shot. Imagine a toxin so subtle, so insidious, it could be released in small doses throughout the city's water supply, or even aerosolized for targeted strikes.
Oh,
A
shit.
silent weapon that leaves no trace, Marshall. No enemy to fight. That was my project, and I had to build prototypes, tested formulas, all under their watchful eye. They called it a revolution, but we all know there is something far worse, Marshall. You know, I tried to warn the authorities once. I leaked a small hint about what they were planning, what I was working on. Not enough for the cops to stop them, but enough to show my conscience was still alive. So I thought anyway. The Faceless found out, and this must have been when Kreeger was re-kidnapped.
Do you believe this was the leak? Maybe this is what was
the leak they were talking about, and then he said, "Where is Ryan Kreeger?" Yes. So he might have leaked that. They don't just punish betrayal, Marshall. They torture it, and I've seen their true face. It's not something out of a cliche horror story. It's methodical, calculated. They are not reckless. They are patient, and the patience makes them even more dangerous, Marshall. That's why I'm talking to you through this tape, because I need the world to know what they are capable of. The city isn't just in trouble. It's on the brink of collapse. Once the Faceless perfect this neurotoxin, they can hold every neighborhood, every person, every life hostage with a whisper. But there is one last hope. I've heard rumors of a group called the Oracle, an underground network of code breakers who are onto the Faceless. I don't know how much of it is real or is a myth, but if there is anyone who can crack their infrastructure, expose their secrets, and dismantle the neurotoxin threat, it's them. So this is my confession, Marshall. I've done terrible things under their command. I've made mistakes I can't erase, but if I can stop them from unleashing a silent killer on millions of people, then maybe that counts for something. Then he takes some sort of pill on video. Remember, the Oracle might be our only chance. Find them, Marshall. Find them before the Faceless decide to play God on the life in this fucking city.
So I'm gonna do like kind of a pros and cons list. Zenith with the 2! But not exactly pro and con, but more of like, hey, is Project S whatever actually this? So
I think it's.
I think it is too, but just for sake of it
being
potentially not being
advocate.
Exactly. Yeah. So firstly, this project is referenced in the same time frame as in the book being written, Project whatever, right?
Yep.
So the second, if this is fundamentally like their main project, it makes sense that it is popping up on the crystal ball. All the people of interest all kind of line up in this space. There's the one silo, which is a silo of dropping weapons into the city, which may just be, if they don't provide it, someone else will. But by them providing it, it can be a distraction for us, law enforcement, because it's a real problem, right? But the more time we invest looking into like guns and the Faceless is guns, faceless, we forget
about the real threat.
The real threat, exactly. Now here's a negating factors is based on even the description here. Why would you put that in a bomb? That is a very odd release mechanism, right?
So that's where I don't think it's a bomb. I think it's something.
Well, in the photo, it certainly looks like it. You might be right. It might be like a release mechanism and not actually a bomb. The second is that there's the silo that is around the time that those photos in the crystal ball were taken of like me and Edgar and New Babylon is around the time that New Babylon was being attacked by the Faceless very directly. This was a consequence
so there was
of
something in the Chronicles that talked about like a society living on their own and things like that hinted towards like New Babylon actively working against this.
Correct. Yes. So Edgar de Castillo and Speedy both burnt the blueprints that they had that were given to them by the Faceless as a means to cut ties with the Faceless and start anew in New Babylon. Obviously, we know how things went with that. However,
Yep.
you know, what do you call it? It was during this time that both Edgar, and this is like a keep it between us thing, Edgar spilled on the Faceless. Speedy didn't give a fuck and spilled. Now, note, myself and Speedy have history. He is one of the few that will utilize law enforcement to fuck over his enemies. And that was, I believe, his angle. Lang also gave me quite a bit. My enemy is my friend. I took advantage of it, but rather transparently, I don't want to see New Babylon fall because, as I have told other marshals, there are rumors of them trying to secede and this and that. That's a concern, but it's such a unlikely concern. There's no material forward action made by them outside of living behind walls, you know what I mean? Versus the fucking Faceless that can kill us.
Yeah.
Right?
They're trying to build a way to survive without the rest of the city.
Agreed.
More than they're trying to separate themselves. They're just trying to be non-reliant on the rest of the city, which makes sense if they actually have intel about whatever the hell is happening.
And I've been very straightforward with them with that, which is likely why Lang was pretty open about some things outside of some like hocus pocus he was talking about with like Shai Halud and like the Ashen Tree or whatever, like some of which is mystical in nature. I believe some of it to be true, but regardless, he told me, and as did Speedy, I forgot who told me what, right? But they said in so many words that they know with certainty because they have seen evidence of it that they're making a bomb and they want to drop it on New Babylon if they continue. This is one of the reasons why I think Edgar and Lang started to have disagreements, because Edgar very much was like trying to, with his fucking musket, like take out the Faceless. Psychotic, right? Whereas Lang, it was sort of on the opposite end of the spectrum of like, have a plan, right? And this caused like an internal dispute. But the reason I point all this out is the fact that they mentioned that they were going to be bombed around this same time. About a like 2 weeks prior, we had discovered a silo in Grapeseed, which Delta One mentioned is active, and they believe the Faceless are underneath, which makes me once again lean to, I don't think there's one thing. I don't think it's just the serum. Is that this thing could still be a bomb and nuclear at that, right?
Yeah.
So, God damn it. So, anyways, what did you find at Buccaneer?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like, I found moonshine stills. There's like an office up there. Couldn't really find much else. But I had never really, like, I didn't even know that was called Jet Sam Terminal. So I was very much just kind of exploring for the first time. Also, it was just off Buccaneer Way where those documents the day after their investor meeting were found. So I was debating if we should have somebody go check the waters around there again.
Waters where? Sorry.
Off of Buccaneer Way, those docks down there.
Oh, like scuba down?
Yeah, because that's where that pile of documents were found the day after the investors meeting.
Oh. I didn't connect what you were saying till just now. When you say the day after the investors meeting, are you inferring that it happened here?
Yes. So they said they met the investors on the 16th. On the 17th, there was a pile, like 5 different books of documents about the Faceless that were found in the waters off of Buccaneer Docks. So either somebody coming back dumped them on their way back, or it happened there.
Yeah, that I like that that first option, which is they dumped it. Only because I can't imagine the investors taking the risk of coming here. Yeah.
But it could have been like somebody returning and they dropped all those documents.
Very true. Very true. You know what would make sense too is, like, let's say they went by boat to a carrier or whatever it might be. Say, you know, they had to get rid of all their shit.
Yeah. They just dumped it in the water before fully coming back. And that actually makes sense. So there, in one of the documents that I was looking at, it showed the ports were the Buccaneer Way docks, as well as one up near Polito, near like the Hunter's Lodge, with like 2 arrows of things coming in. I used to see Gunna constantly in the waters up near Polito and up near the docks, just constantly in the water. So I wonder if that was a place he was actively surveilling.
Part of the old marshals, they like to look for weapons, thrown away things, which, so that's like a general activity. But I imagine what you're saying makes sense too, is that they found some of these things. Who's to say they won't find more? Because some of these assets, let's be honest here, we've got all these like people with like AC/DC, right? They could finish like the biggest mission in the world and literally just discard their shit on the ground. And it makes sense, right? People are gonna discard. Which one's Buccaneer? Is it this one? Oh, it's this one. Wait. Row 6, red container. Wait, change container location in May. So we may not even... Okay. Jet Sam, go postal.